Welcome to Comfort TV, the channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. I am Faith Kevin. Thanks for joining us again this Saturday. In the headlines, Balogun of Ibadanland seeks electoral reforms. Governor Rada charges councillors to lead anti-corruption battle. Court stops police from enforcing tinted glass regulation. Enugu farmers hail federal government for agro-inputs equipment distribution. Ex-Governor Oshomole slams Pengasan for escalating Dangote refinery dispute. On business, capital market operators seek review of proposed 30% capital gains tax to 25%. CBN takes direct control of fixed income market. On the foreign scene, UK police releases names of the two victims of the Manchester synagogue attack. And on sports, Maresca cites George as proof of Chelsea's academy. Super Eagles tweak squad for Benin and Lesotho. Now the news. The Ààrẹ Egbe Omo Balogun of Ibadanland, Oloye Adeboyega Degoke, has called for urgent reforms in political, institutional and consequences management ahead of the 2027 general elections. Oloye Adegoke, while speaking at the Yemi Faunbi Colloquium's Nigeria's 65th Independence Anniversary lecture in Ibadan, said there is urgent need for reforms within Nigeria's political parties, saying the nation's democratic process cannot thrive without fixing the foundation of political recruitment. He lamented that it is difficult for professionals and technocrats to participate in politics due to the flawed recruitment mechanism within political parties. The Ààrẹ Egbe Omo, who was the chairman at the lecture, emphasized that integrity, teamwork, and proper candidate selections are critical to achieving credible elections. According to him, the challenges facing elections are not solely the responsibility of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as he said the commission is only part of the larger system. He insisted that cases of electoral fraud must be met with prosecution and effective consequence management, where offenders are penalized without exceptions. While acknowledging the importance of reviewing Nigeria's legal framework, he stressed that implementation is even more crucial. Oloye Adegoke concluded by saying that institutional reforms must extend beyond INEC to include citizens, political parties, and security agencies such as the police. Governor Diko Rada of Katsina has described the ward councillors as the first line of defense against corruption. Governor Rada made the declaration at the launch of the 2025 sensitization campaign on anti-corruption, due process, and effective monitoring of public policies, where councillors gathered in Katsina. He therefore urged the 361 board councillors in the state to ensure that community projects were executed according to due process, resources are well managed, and public trust is protected. The campaign was organized by the Katsina State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission. The governor highlighted the role of the Public Campaigns and Anti-Corruption Commission, PCACC, which he said has been empowered as an independent watchdog to investigate corruption, sensitize the public, and collaborate with stakeholders. In his remarks, the chairman of the commission, Alhaji Lawal Garba Abdul Kadir, said that ward councillors were not just politicians, but the heartbeat of the grassroots and the bridge between government and ordinary citizens. He noted that the event was about remembering that every kobo misused was a meal denied. Also speaking, the Algon chairman, who is also the chairman of Danja local government, Alhaji Rabu Tambaya, commended the efforts of the state government in the fight against all forms of corruption. He urged the 34 local government chairmen and the ward councillors to work with the state government to fight against the menace. The chairman of the Councillors Forum, Haruna Abdullahi, thanked the state government for giving the councils their financial entitlements, which he said would go a long way in improving the socio-economic conditions of the ordinary people. The Federal High Court sitting in Warri Delta State has issued an interim order directing the Nigerian Police Force and the Inspector General of Police to maintain the status quo in the ongoing legal battle over the controversial tinted glass permit. In a ruling delivered during proceedings on the matter, the court stressed that the police authorities must respect judicial processes and refrain from taking any action that could prejudice the case until the substantive issues before it are fully heard and determined. The suit, which challenges the illegality and enforcement of the tinted glass permit policy, has drawn significant public attention in recent months, with motorists and rights groups questioning both this process of obtaining the permits and the alleged abuses linked to enforcement by security operatives. Confirming the court's directive, senior advocate Kunle Dunsan, who is leading the legal team in the case, noted that the ruling is a major step towards protecting the integrity of the judicial system and ensuring that the rule of law is not undermined. He explained that the order provides assurance that citizens' rights will not be trampled upon while the case is being litigated. The interim directive, according to legal experts, highlights the principle that no institution or authority is above the law and reinforces the obligation of state agencies to subject themselves to judicial scrutiny. Legal analysts also point out that the order marks a significant moment in the debate over the tinted glass permit, which has long been criticized as opaque, inconsistently applied, and prone to abuse by law enforcement officers. Observers believe the case could set a far-reaching precedent for how similar regulatory issues are enforced in the future. The matter has been adjourned for further hearing, with the court expected to consider the substantive arguments surrounding the policy, its constitutionality, and its enforcement framework in the coming weeks. Some farmers in Enugu State have expressed satisfaction and gratitude over the distribution of agro inputs and equipment to them by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. The federal government, through the Agriculture Ministry, distributed the inputs to the small-scale farmers in Enugu. Some of the inputs and equipment distributed include herbicides, fertilizers, knapsack sprayers, solar water pumps, oil pail chisels, growth enhancers for rice, organic fertilizer for cassava, and water pumps, among others, that were given to farmers captured under Commodity Association, cooperative groups, farmers with special needs, and IDPs. A beneficiary and chairman of the Graduate Farmers Association Enugu, Mr. Patrick Mba, while thanking the ministry for the gesture, urged the federal government to tackle issues of herders leaving their cattle to graze on people's farms. He disclosed that they lost 200 hectares of rice to herdsmen in 2024, adding that the inputs received would cushion the effects of their losses. Mr. Mba assured the ministry that the association would put them to proper use. Distributing the items, Agriculture Minister Abubakar Kyari said the exercise was part of their program to increase agricultural production and ensure food security, as well as mitigate food crisis in the country. He stated that the present administration has resolved to develop the agriculture sector in order to improve agricultural and rural productivity, as well as achieve the objectives of the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly that of achieving zero hunger. Minister Kyari added that the federal government was committed to creating synergies with non-governmental organizations and the private sector to enhance food security. This, he noted, would also boost economic growth and reduce poverty. He stressed that in line with the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, the federal government has declared a national state of emergency on food security in July 2023. Former Nigerian Labour Congress President and Senator Adams Ashomole has criticized the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria for escalating its disagreement with the Dangote refinery into a nationwide shutdown of oil facilities, describing the move as hasty and unfair to other workers. Speaking in an interview on Friday, Oshomole said while unions have the right to defend workers, they must do so in ways that do not create wider economic hardship. Senator Oshomole noted that the oil union's decision to shut down facilities of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and other firms because of issues at Dangote was ill-considered. Drawing from his experience as NLC president, Oshomole argued that disputes should be directed at the specific employer involved. He also cautioned against rushing into strikes without considering the impact. While affirming that this time his right to unionize is fundamental, he urged balance. Oshomole added that new private sector investors like Dangote should be given time to stabilize before facing intense labor action. Dangote Refinery, commissioned in May 2023 by former President Muhammadu Buhari, is Africa's largest single-train refinery with a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day. Comfort TV.Channel news returns shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Stay tuned. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is Comfort TV.Channel's news on business. Operators in the Nigerian capital market have urged Chairman of Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, FPTR, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, to reconsider the proposed introduction of a 30% tax on capital gains from the disposal of shares. In an open letter to Mr. Oyedele, which was dated October 2, 2025, the operator said the rate expected to take effect from January 2026 will put a lot of pressure on the NGX until the end of the year, as domestic and foreign institutional investors look to realize gains under the current tax regime. However, the average investor's return on the stock market section of the Nigerian Exchange Limited (NGX) appreciated to 27.82 trillion naira, driven by the federal government's foreign exchange reforms, amongst others that boosted confidence. Measuring the performance by market capitalization, it was revealed that the stock market opened for trading in 2025 at 62.763 trillion naira, gained 44.3% or 27.82 trillion naira to close September 30, 2025 at 90.581 trillion naira. In September 2025, the market capitalization added 2.04% or 1.81 trillion naira from 88.769 trillion naira it closed for trading in August 2025 from 90.581 trillion naira. Nonetheless, the letter to FPTR chairman, signed by Chief Executive Emerging and Frontier Capital EFC, Mr. Kato Mukuru, stated that the new CGT regime was not in keeping with the seventh guiding principle of the FPTR. Still on business, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced a phased operational overhaul of the Nigerian fixed income market in a deliberate move to deepen transparency and efficiency in the financial ecosystem. Acting Director of the Financial Markets Department at the CBN, Oke Umano, in a memo stated that the first phase of the reform will see the Apex Bank take full control of both the settlement process and trading platform for fixed income transactions starting from November this year. The initiative, he added, forms part of broader financial market reforms and is designed to enhance regulatory oversight and strengthen the market's role in supporting monetary policy transmission and economic growth. The CBN emphasized that the objective of this phase is to strengthen market integrity, streamline operations, and establish a unified regulatory framework that ensures end-to-end visibility and supervisory oversight of fixed income transactions. Meanwhile, Nigeria's broad money supply surged to 119.52 trillion naira in August 2025, representing an increase from 117.4 trillion naira recorded in June 2025. In the foreign scene, police on Friday identified the two men who were killed in a car and knife attack in a synagogue in northwest England on the holiest day of the Jewish year, as Britain's chief rabbi said an unrelenting wave of anti-Semitism lay behind the crime. Greater Manchester Police said local residents Adrian Dolby and Melvin Kravitz died in an attack on the Heaton Park Congregation Synagogue in the Manchester suburb of Cromsall. 3 other people are hospitalized in serious condition. Police shot and killed the suspect 7 minutes after he rammed the car into pedestrians outside the synagogue on Thursday morning and then attacked them with a knife. He wore what appeared to be an explosive belt, which was found to be fake. The assault took place as people gathered at the Orthodox synagogue on Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement and the most solemn day in the Jewish calendar. Chief Rabbi Ephraim Muvis, the head of Orthodox Judaism in Britain, said the attack was the result of an unrelenting wave of Jew hatred. The attacker was identified by police as Jihad al-Shami, a 35-year-old British citizen of Syrian descent who entered the United Kingdom as a young child and became a citizen in 2006. Police said the incident is being investigated as a terrorist attack. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood said the attacker was not previously known to police or to prevent a national counter-terror program that tries to identify people at risk of radicalization. On sports, speaking at Friday's pre-match press conference, Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca has reaffirmed his faith in academic graduate Tyreek George ahead of the Premier League match with Liverpool. Coach Maresca stressed that his trust in young players extends beyond those signed from elsewhere, but also to homegrown talents emerging from Cobham. He cited the progress of George and fellow academy product Josh Achampong as clear examples of the club's long-term philosophy, noting that both had been deliberately integrated into the senior setup last season. He explained that giving Achampong and George opportunities alongside senior players was part of a wider effort to ensure academy prospects transition smoothly into first-team football. After a failed deadline day move to Fulham, George has earned valuable minutes this season, logging 269 minutes spread across 5 games in all competitions. With 8 senior players, including Tosin Adarabioyo, facing fitness concerns ahead of the Liverpool encounter, the England youth international of Nigerian descent is expected to be seen in strong contention for a place in Chelsea's matchday squad. Still on sports, the Super Eagles have released a 23-man squad for this month's crucial FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Benin and Lesotho, with a mix of familiar names and a few new faces making the cut. In goal, Stanley Umabali, Amas Obasogi and Adebayo Dele retained their places, with the Chippa United shortstopper expected to keep his #1 shirt. The defense sees the return of Semi Ajayi, who slots in following Ola Aina's injury during the 1-1 draw with South Africa in Bloemfontein. He joins William Troost Ekong, Calvin Bassey, Bright Osai Samuel, Bruno Onyemaechi, Benjamin Frederick and Felix Agu in a backline mix of experience and youth. Midfield options include Alex Iwobi, Wilfred Ndidi, Frank Onyeka, and New England Revolution Al-Hassan Yusuf, who returns to the fold. In attack, Nigeria boasts one of its most stacked lineups yet. Victor Osimhen headlines the list alongside Ademola Lookman, Moses Simon, Samuel Chukwueze, and Cyril Dessers, who keeps his spot despite criticism from the last outing. Nice Terran Murphy returns while Akko Adams finally looks set for his debut after several missed opportunities. New invitee Ola Olusegun completes the front line. With Nigeria needing maximum points to stay in contention for a World Cup ticket, the coming clashes against Benin and Lesotho could define the Eagles' path to 2026. And that's our news bulletin for this morning, but before we go, a recap of our top stories. Balogun of Ibadanland seeks electoral reforms. Governor Rada charges councillors to lead anti-corruption battle. Court stops police from enforcing tinted glass regulation. Enugu farmers hails federal government for agro-inputs equipment distribution. Ex-Labour Minister Oshomole slams Pengasan for escalating Dangote refinery dispute. On business, capital market operators seek review of proposed 30% capital gains tax to 25%. On the foreign scene, UK police releases names of the 2 victims of the Manchester synagogue attack. And on sports, Maresca cites Georgia's proof of Chelsea's academy. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.Channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. I am Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay connected, stay informed.